All right, so we're past the halfway mark. We'll talk about the midterm and stuff after we go through the review. We're finishing up our review for chapter 4, which is not on the midterm. It's not homework for it. It's not due till end of the semester. As a reminder, we've been talking about graphing. So I could have a few lines here. I could have something like this. Y equals 2/3 x. I'm just sketching it. This isn't like, I'm not putting in exact lines or hashtags. Y equals x is a perfect diagonal. That's the y equals x, which is the same as 1x. I could probably go super steep. Maybe this is y equals 4x. And as a reminder, we could go downward as we go left to right too. That may be y equals -1/2 x. And we were looking at slope, which we call m. And ways to look at it is rise over run. This is a change in y over a change in x. We use delta to represent change over delta x. And we had a formula for the slope. We could calculate it. Now you can see if we start off like, if this is 4x, and as I make it less steep, the slope gets smaller. This is 1x, and as the slope gets even less steep, now it's below 1x, it's 2/3. And we go all the way down here, and all of a sudden we're in -1/2 x. This slope keeps decreasing. There's, at some point here, the slope must be 0. Slope must be 0 somewhere. So where does m equal 0? Fractions equal 0 when the top equals 0. 0 equals y2 minus y1. And if I add y1 to both sides, I get y1 equals y2. It's when the y values are the same. If the y values are the same, we have a horizontal line. Where y equals some constant number, unchanging number. If you call it b, it's called b. Y equals b is like the same thing as 0x plus b. So we can see that that slope of 0 does work with that equation we saw before. Is ready for more? And just to give you a little bit of practice, we did this yesterday, but we're going to be doing it a bunch today, so I want to refresh your memory. Let's say we have points 5, 4, and -2, -1. Let's find the slope. And when I say we, or let's, like let us, I mean you. Remember, you're doing y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Anyone need more time? Are you good, Jerry, or you need more time? What point did you pick for point 1 and which one did you pick for point 2?
I put 5, 4 at point 1.
All right, we'll do that. So that's my x1, y1. That's my x2, y2. So I will have -1 on top there, and -2 on bottom there. And I'll have 4 on top here and 5 on bottom here. I get -5 over -7, which simplifies to 5 over 7. We cancel out the negatives. Now, there are 2 ways to look at this slope. Let's just sketch a quick picture. That probably should not cross there. I know it doesn't cross there. So doesn't cross at 0, 0. So my picture is not great right here. Let me see if I can fix it a little bit. There we go. Cross is a little bit above it. So, two ways to look at this. I can look at this as how far 5/7 is my rise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A rise of 5 over a run of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A run of 7. That's one way to look at 5/7. Rise of 5, run of 7. The other way to look at it is every single step along X is M steps along Y, which in this case would be 5/7. So one step in X is 5/7 in Y. And we can sort of see this here. As I go from here to here, this goes from here to about here. It doesn't go up all the way a full step, but it goes up most of one. Ready for more? All right, what about (1, -2) and 1, 3? So if you work through this, go 1, 2, 3 minus -2 over 1 minus 1. It's 5/0. We can't divide by 0. So we say the slope is undefined. As we can see, this happens for vertical lines. And vertical lines have the form x equals some value. This line right here is x equals 1. Now, this isn't like a math thing that they say, but if there's no y, there's no slope. I think that's easy to remember. Any questions? So vertical lines have no slope, they're undefined. The horizontal lines have a slope of 0. And then you'll see, like, everything is, if it's going up from left to right, m is greater than 0 or it's positive. And if it's going downward, m is less than 0 or negative. Those are handy to remember. Because if you do something and your line is going downward, but you calculate a slope is positive, something's wrong. Ready for more? Okay, so something else we need to do. We have the standard form of equations, of linear equations. This was ax plus by equals c. Where a, b, and c are numbers. And what we want to do is we want to be able to write this in the form y equals mx plus b. It's easier to graph. And m is our slope. We already know that. And if you look at when x equals 0, if x equals 0, this ends up saying y equals b. And we get the point 0b, and that's the y-intercept. So y equals mx plus b is called the slope-intercept form. The name just tells you what you're getting. And I'll tell you right now, graphing equations in slope-intercept form is much, much easier than in standard form. Standard form, we had to make tables. And that was so meh. It sucked. Then we had to plot points, connect dots. So let's do an example. Everyone ready? Let's say we started at negative 2x plus 3y equals negative 9. This is going to get ugly plotting points. What we want to do is solve for y. It helps to pretend x is a number. Because then it looks like we just have 3y plus some number or minus some number. We want to move the negative 2x over, I can add 2x to both sides. And I can divide everything by 3. And I get y equals 2/3 x minus 3. 2x over the 3 is just like writing 2 times x over 3 times 1. And we can split it into 2 over 3 times x over 1. And so we can just put the fraction in front of the x. That's what I did here. As I went from there to there, I did this. But now this gives me a slope. I have a rise of 2 over a run of 3. And I have a point here, this is 0, negative 3. It's where it crosses the y-axis. So let's do that here. I'm going to cross where it crosses the I'm going to mark where it crosses the y-axis. That's my 0, negative 3. And I can do the rise of 2 and run of 3. I can go up 2 and right 3 and put a point. I like to do it a couple times because it makes it easier to connect the dots. 1, 2, 3. And 2 over 3 is like doing negative 2 over negative 3 if I want to go the other direction. I go down 2 and left 3. And we can see I can connect my dots and make a line. If my points are close together, I tend to do more than 2. It makes it easier to draw a straight line. If they're far apart, then doing more than 2 points just means it makes it even farther apart. And it kind of like takes up too much space on the page, and I don't like that. But you really only need the starting point and one more point. And the slope gives us that. You guys want to try one? Let's go with 3x plus 5y equals 10. Try writing that in slope-intercept form and then graph it. Not bad, Cody. Only one other student's even started chapter 6, and it looks like you're already done with it.
I'm not quite done with you.
Not quite done with it? Pretty close, you're getting there.
Yeah. I did the lecture for chapter 7, and I found another one of those things I was telling you about yesterday. Z-scores. They showed.
We've done z-scores, those are in chapter 3.
Okay,
Chapter 3 or chapter 2? I want to say chapter 3. You should have seen them before.
okay. I just don't remember from the notes, is all.
That's a recurring one.
Yeah.
Only one other student's even started chapter 6. Looks like you found the Poisson distribution easier than the other two.
Yeah.
That one's pretty handy. It tells you it's Poisson right away.
Yeah.
Chapter 7, it will be a normal distribution. It tells you normally distributed whenever it's normally distributed. So you know that that's what you're working with there too. Be a little bit longer.
You think that'll pass this class?
I think you're the one that's most likely to pass at this point.
Really?
Yeah, you're the only one that you've done far more work than anybody else.
Okay.
You're gonna be your next few days are gonna be doing chapter 7, doing the practice exam a couple times, and doing the midterm. That's
I just
it.
don't want to mess up on the midterm, you know?
Okay, so do the practice exam a few times.
Okay,
It's not a waste of time.
okay.
It's like almost the same questions. There's just a few less. I took out some of the ones on the practice exam because like they take a while. Where you're going into chapter 7 today, assuming you work on homework today, most students are going into, let me go back. Only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 students have even started chapter 5. So everyone else is doing like those 7, not all of them done all of chapter 5. But most of them have started, they still got to finish 5, then they got to do 6, then they got to do 7, then they got to practice, then they got to take the test, all by Sunday. You see where you're in a better shape than there?
I see where I'm in better shape. I don't know if that makes it easier for me to pass.
It gives you more time to, it's less stressful when you have less to do. It's still a test, so it's still gonna be stressful. But if you're trying to jam in 3 fucking chapters, like 3, 5, 6, and 7, the only other things on the test are 1, 2, and 3, and 1 is all just words. So like 5, 6, and 7, they're doing like over half the homework in the class for the midterm in the last 3 days before the midterm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's some stressful shit.
Yeah.
Much more stressful than just taking the test, which is stressful enough. Take it a few times.
Okay.
Everyone, do this. I will assume you subtracted 3x from both sides. Divide by 5. And we get y equals negative 3/5 x plus 2. And now, rather than plotting points, making a table, this tells me immediately I can go to 0, 2 and put a point. And then I gotta go rise of negative 3, which is down 3, and a run of 5. So down 3 and over 5 puts me there. And I'm gonna rotate this so because I make a straight line easier drawing away from me. That is that line right there. Let me give you another one to do. We'll skip the solving for a while. Let's just give it to you in the right form to begin with. So if we give this a try, my -1 tells me to go down 1 from the center. What does my slope give me? What does the m equals 3 do? How do I use that?
We could rewrite it as 3/1.
That's a really good choice. Why?
Because it's easier to look at. It shows us a rise over run.
It gives us a rise over run. Yeah, I agree. So if you have a whole number or an integer, put it over 1. Up 3 over 1. Up 3 over 1. Down 3, left 1. How are you guys doing? Did you guys both get that? Someone answer, say yes or no. You got it? Okay.
I didn't get it until you asked what we could do with it, and then it just popped into my head, and then I got it.
Well, you got it before I showed you, right?
Yeah.
So it took a second for like prompting, but okay. So let me give you a couple more. We'll put them on the same graph. Y equals 1/4 x plus 2. And let's do like y equals -2x plus 5. You guys give them a gander and then we'll do them together. Anyone need any longer? Still got, okay. Good. I saw what was clearly a straight line drawn. All right, so I'll do the one on the left in red. The +2 tells me I gotta go up 2 from the center and start there. And the 1/4 tells me I'm gonna have a rise of 1 and a run of 4. So up 1 and over 4. Here you go, down 1 and left 4. The -2x + 5, I don't know if the green shows up very well, but this will be in green. This tells me to start at 5 up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the -2 is -2 down, run 1 to the right. So down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. And if I do that, so that's my y equals -2x + 5. And that is my, I already wrote that one down. You guys both get that? Okay, good. All right, so we don't need the equation for the line. If we have the slope and a point. With slope m and a point, I'll call it x1, y1. We can draw it. And we can come up with the equation. So that's our next objective. You guys ready? So let's start with m equals 2/3 and the point 4, 1.
Bring the paper down.
So let's graph it. We will put a point at 4, 1. And we can still do the rise over run from here. We can go up 2 and right 3. Or I can go down 2 and left 3. So if I want to write an equation, here's one way we can do it. Start with y equals mx plus b. I have my m. I have an x, and I have a y. I only don't have the b. I only miss the b. So we can solve for b. So if I do that, I have 1 equals 2/3 times 4 plus b. Now 2/3 times 4, I can write it as 4/1. And remember, when we multiply fractions, we multiply top and bottom separately. This becomes 1 equals 8/3 plus b. Now I want to subtract 8/3 from both sides. I'll do that over here. The only way we subtract fractions is if we get a common denominator. The denominator of the fraction is 3, so if I multiply that by 3/3, I get 3/3 minus 8/3, which is 3 minus 8/3, which is -5/3. So I will have -5/3 equals b. Now if we want to write the equation, we got to put stuff back into y equals mx plus b, put in m and b. Y equals 2/3 x minus 5/3. Ready for one more? Or ready to try one on your own? You good, Jared? Okay. You guys give it a try. We're going to do m equals -2/5. And we'll use the point -5, 3. Graph it and find the equation. And if you want to take a bathroom break, we can do that. I'll pause this for a little bit. It's recording. All right, so if we graph it, what do we got? And 5, 3 is right about there. And this is a down 2, right 5. Now looking at this, I've got a good feeling that is 0, 1. But I drew this by hand, and I didn't have some graphing calculator do it where I can check the point. I'm not going to assume that's 0, 1, because if it is 0, 1, I could just take the slope and jump to slope-intercept form. Y equals -2/5 x plus 1. I don't want to assume that, so I'm going to do my y equals mx plus b. 3 is my y equals negative 2/5 is m times negative 5 plus b. The negatives here cancel. And if I treat this as 5/1, the 5's cancel too. And so that's just 2. Subtract the 2. Now you get 1 equals b. So I was right. It was that. So I can do the y equals mx plus b and just plug them in. There is another way some students like more. This method I think is easier, but a lot of students forget to plug in b and m afterwards. Let's show you what it is. It all starts with our y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's our slope. If we only have one point though, we don't need both numbers. We don't need the second numbers. So if we don't have, if we only have one point, I can write this as y minus y1. Still takes the y and the x, but we don't know what it is. It's a variable here. And now clear the fractions. Multiply both sides by x minus x1. On the left, the fraction clears. On the right, I really can't do anything with it. So I leave it like that. This is called the point slope form. You need m and a point x1, y1. Let's give this a try with the one we just did. We had m equals negative 2/5, and we had the point negative 5, 3. You know? What the hell did I get negative 5? That's not what we did. This is not the one we just did, is it?
The one we just did, the point was negative 5.
It was what?
Negative 5, 3. You're right.
Okay, I put it on the wrong stack then. There we go. That's it, yeah, I put it on the wrong fucking stack. Good, excellent. So this is our x1 and this is our y1. So we plug them in. I have y minus 3 equals, and I plug in my m, negative 2/5, x minus -5. And so like, I'm gonna clean up, I got two minuses in a row. That becomes addition. And now we have to distribute. -2/5 times x is just -2/5 x. -2/5 times 5, I'll write it as a fraction. The 5's cancel, and I get -2. We finish it off by adding 3 to both sides. And we get our y equals -2/5 x plus 1 that we had last time. You guys want to try one on your own? Let me rephrase that. Let's have you try one on your own. Never ask students if they want to voluntarily do more work. You know better than that, Jones. And you're using y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Everyone ready? So we'll plug in what we have. Y1 is -2. M is 3. And then X1 is 1. This turns into Y plus 2. And I can distribute over here. I get 3 times X is 3X, and 3 times -1 is -3. Subtract 2, and I'm done. For some reason, I don't like using this equation as much as I like using y equals mx plus b, but a lot of students do. Because once I've got everything in, all I gotta do is just some algebra shit. I don't need to remember to plug stuff in again later. And so a lot of students like it. Let's give you another one. Let's make it less fun. We'll make a positive one, why not? I don't know how you're getting as much shit done as you are and still working damn near full time. That's some impressive shit. Like I've done math in summer school, but it wasn't 6 units of math like you're doing. I've done 4
units.
Well, there's 2 for this and 4 for the stats, so 6 total.
Oh, wow.
I've done 4 and then 4. 4 in June, 4 in July. And it was still like 4 hours of lecture, and then I was doing homework like every day for like 5-6 hours. So, I only had a couple hours off in the evening. I don't know where you fit in fucking a damn near full-time job.
Well, it's 2 separate jobs.
But still, that's even worse, because that means you're wasting time to commute to different locations.
Yeah.
Unless they're both close to your home. But I bet they're not.
Not really.
I know the park one isn't,
No.
because the parks are everywhere.
I drove all over town for that. Yeah.
So do you have to throw a bunch of people out on 4th of July, fucking up their fireworks?
I throw people out all the time. Every single day.
And they don't give a shit that you don't look intimidating to me.
Well, a lot of the times, they're upset, these people.
Like you're tall, but you're not like,
I'm not a big beef.
you're not a beefcake, that's right. You're just regular, you're like, regular guy. Not scrawny, but not large.
Yeah.
And you're young, so less intimidating. You don't have a beard. I could see people giving you the F you, I ain't going nowhere.
That's happened to me a few times, and then protocol is I'm just not supposed to do anything. I just have to call the police and leave.
Right. I figured it was called the police.
Tulare PD, those guys, they should moan all the time about doing their job. Oh.
Are you over in Tulare?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm over in Tulare too. I can't get them to, like, my neighbor, like, I don't know where it is behind my house. It's not directly behind, but it's like 1 or 2 houses, and I think that direction, like if I'm looking out my back door, like that way on the other side, it used to be like 4 to 6 times a year, just fucking music would start at 1 in the afternoon. And bum, 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 bum. And the fucking tempo never fucking changed. So I don't know, like, maybe they're listening to different songs, but the beat's staying the fucking same, and that's what's traveling. So like, I kept calling it bounce house music. Okay, if in the afternoon, so be it. You know, I should do something else, not be in my house. They got it so fucking loud, like my house is fucking vibrating.
Really?
And like 10 o'clock rolls around, 11 o'clock rolls around, it's still fucking not even toning it down. I'll call the police, I'll say something. You know, at some point, people got to get up and work the next day. They'll do it on the weekdays.
Yeah.
They'll do it on a Sunday fucking night, but everybody got to work on Monday. Like, fuck you guys, we're playing fucking bounce house music tonight. And they won't fucking, I'll call, and then fucking midnight rolls around, nothing, call back. Fucking 1 a.m, I'm fucking can't fall asleep. I'll call back eventually, and I don't know that it's even the police showing up.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody got this?
I think so.
So we got our y minus y1, y minus 1 equals m, which is negative 2/3. It helps if I write negative 2/3, times x minus x1, which was 6. I do know negative 2/3 times 6. You can throw this in a calculator. This is 2 times 3. The 3's cancel, and I get negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. So when I distribute, I have negative 2/3 x. Oh, but that was a negative also, so those negatives cancel, and I get a plus. Almost fucked that up. Add 1. And you get y equals negative 2/3 x plus 5. And I think you guys have had enough practice graphing that shit right now. Class. That isn't the only kind of stuff they're going to throw at you. They will throw at you stuff like this. Let me ask, does anyone need that? Did you guys both get that? Do you know what you missed? I almost missed that too. All right. Sometimes they just give you the graph and say, find the shit. And they'll say, find the equation of the line. Generally, even if they don't put dark dots on it, they're gonna have a grid on their shit. And you can see where the lines are definitely crossing grid intersections. Well, the best way to go about this is A, find the slope. And then B, use M and a point to find the equation. Now there's a couple ways of going about finding the slope. One, we could just look at rise over run. Rise over run is up 2 and right 1. So M should be 2. Now, I'm not always confident of that. You can always check your work though by finding the ordered pairs, writing what they are. That one is 0, 1. And that one is 1, 3. And if we do that, we can do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 3 minus 1 over 1 minus 0 is 2 over 1, which is 2. Now, once you have M, if you have the y-intercept, run with it. Y equals mx plus b and you're done. Which is what we have here. So I can jump straight to M is 2 and the y-intercept is 1. If you don't have the y-intercept, point slope works. So here I'll use m equals 2 and 1 comma 3. Y minus 3 equals 2 times x minus 1. Distribute that. And we'll add 3 to both sides and we get y equals 2x plus 1. So you'll get it either way. If they didn't put a dot on the y-intercept, you probably shouldn't use it. Because you may think it's something, but be wrong. Like it might look like it's actually crossing at a whole number, but it might be just off by a hair. You guys want to try one? All right, is everyone ready? I didn't ask first. Good? Okay. And let's put our points. Let's put one there and there. So I don't know if this is clear. This is the point -3, -4. And that's the point 3, 0.
You ever been to Firehouse Pizza in Tulare?
That's like super fucking close to my house.
Really?
Yeah.
On West and Prospect? Yeah, they're pretty good. What do you think?
It's been a long, long time since I've had them. I need to give them a try again. I've lived where I've lived for 18 years now, and it's probably been a good 15 years. My wife likes mountain mics the most, so we end up getting that a lot. And then she likes stuffed crust at Pizza Hut. My wife tends to get it way more often than not. Like if this happens all the time. Hey honey, what do you want to have for dinner? And I'll say, tacos sound good or something like that. So yeah, I was thinking spaghetti. Why the fuck did you ask me what I wanted? Why didn't you lead with, does spaghetti sound good for dinner? You know I'm gonna go, sure, why not? I'm not fucking picky. As long as it tastes good, I'm good.
Yeah.
She does it to me all the time. It's been a while. Does Firehouse, do you have to go in and pick it up, or do they deliver or anything like that?
I don't know if they deliver. I've only gone in.
You must live right near me too.
Oh.
So shutting down the big ballpark, I bet that's fun.
I actually don't have to do that one.
You don't have to do that one?
Dedicated guy who takes care of that one.
Really?
I'm sure he has fun.
There's a street between the firehouse and that big ballpark. I don't know what it's called. This is a giant fucking baseball in the middle of the fucking park.
Yeah.
There's a street between those two, then I'm like down that street and down another street, but I'm in that little area right there. All right, so you guys both done? All right. So I can do rise over, I'm gonna try both. Looks like I gotta go up 4. And I gotta go over 6, which would be 2/3. I'm gonna confirm that by doing y2 minus y1. We'll have -4 minus 0 over -3 minus 3. It is 4/6. And that is 2 times 2 over 2 times 3. And that's how I'm simplifying to the 2/3. So I've got m is 2/3. And now I can pick a point. Which point did you guys use?
I used to be 0
Why?
because there's a 0 in it.
It's really, really good fucking plan, right? If there's a 0, run with it. So we'll use 3, 0. And I've got y minus 0, which is just y, is m 2/3 times x minus x1, which is 3. So we distribute this should be 2/3 x, 2/3 times 3, -3. So put it over 3 over 1, 2 times -1 is -2. So y equals 2/3 x minus 2. Now, clearly, my picture is shit. Because 0, -2, really? So I drew poorly. The point is, don't always go by what the picture shows you, especially if you hand draw it. Because you might think you crossed at a certain point and have a nice little integer, nice little number to put for your y-intercept and just go with it. But if you don't know where it crossed, you don't know what the fraction is, you're better off doing this calculation each time. Let's see. Let's go with that. You guys want another one like this, or you want another problem, or another topic? Jared, do you want another one or another topic? Sure? Sound all hesitant. If you want another one, I'll make Cody do another one. Okay. So sometimes they don't give you the slope. Sometimes you just have 2 points. And we already know 2 points make a line. So they'll do something like this. They'll say, given points 1, 3, and -1, -9, find the equation of the line. We've done this, but without doing the 2 points. We've done parts of this the whole way. Well, the last problem we had 2 points, but they drew the line. And here we just gotta, we don't even need the picture, but we still need to A, find M, and B, find the line with M in a point. So why don't you guys try that? Remembering that M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Ready? Okay. So let's go through and find the slope first. I'm going to call this 0.2 and I'm going to call this 0.1. So y2 is 3 and x2 is 1. And y1 is -9 and x1 is -1. This is 3 plus 9 over 1 plus 1. 12 over 2, which is 6. So I got m equals 6. And now I'll probably use the one and mark 0.2. We'll use that and 1, 3. Y minus 3 equals 6 times x minus 1. We distribute the 6. And we add 3. There we go. Not too bad, is it? All right, that's most of the topics you're going to see in the support. They will have like a word problem though. So like, let's take a look at a word problem. Now, I have no idea if these prices are right. I just made this shit up. Marie Callender's spends $2,500 on wages, rent, and utilities. And supplies. Oh no, utilities. It costs them $5 per pie to make. How much does it cost them to make 1,350 pies? You might be able to jump to the answer here, figuring it out. It's worth taking the time to see how we can write this as an equation and go for it. So if you're not sure, let's just do one at a time. Cost of one pie. Well, they got to pay that $2,500 whether they make a pie or not. And then they pay $5 for one pie, so times one pie. And that would add up to 2,505. Cost of two pies, the same 2,500. Then they've got $5 and it's two pies they're making. So two pies is $5 each. 5 plus 5 is 10. We've got $2,510. But rather than doing 5 plus 5 is 10, we're going to write it as 5 times 2. Cost of 3 pies. $2,500. We could do 5 plus 5 plus 5, or we can do 5 times 3. And this would be $2,515. For a cost of, I don't know how many pies, let's call it P pies. This process should stay the same. Is there a pattern here? It's 2,500 plus $5 times however many pies we had, so times p pies. And now I don't know what this is, that's just my cost. We can call that C. So C is gonna equal the $5 times P plus the fixed costs. These are called fixed costs. And those are called variable costs if you study economics. And I use P for pi, but we don't need to use P for pi. We can use Y and X like we've been doing. I could write this as Y equals 5X plus 2,500, where X is number of pies. And if I want 1,350 pies, I can just plug that in. And I get $9,250.
I did this just last night to find out if it would be worth me buying a better car.
Nice.
And cost per mile. But, yeah.
Huh. So what's your current car's mileage?
It gets about 14 miles per gallon.
Ooh.
Which costs with gas prices now about 29 cents a mile. And I'd like to get like a Honda Civic Hybrid, and those costs, that costs about 11 cents a mile to drive. And,
So you're saving about 18 cents a mile.
yeah.
The question is how many miles you gotta drive
How many miles I gotta drive?
to make up the cost of the car?
Yes. And I wanted to see if it would be worth buying, because to get a Honda Civic Hybrid like that would be like $6,000. Whereas I bought my car for $800.
Oh, 6,000 you should be able to make up.
Yeah.
That's like 30,000 miles.
Yeah, that's what I got, like 28,000.
Yeah.
500 miles or something.
I was rounding to 20 cents and doing it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll make that, that's a couple years of driving.
That's what I'm thinking, and I did math and added up how much I drive for work and everything like that. Yeah, it would take me like five years to make that up. Like 4 years.
With your current stuff, you never know how much you're gonna be driving in the future.
That's true.
All right, this is why, like, if you remember yesterday, I had called X the input variable and Y the output. This is why. I can put in how many pies and it puts out the cost. Can you sell your car for 800? Your
I
truck?
can sell it for a lot more than 800.
Really? So the 6,000 is really, if you sell it, it's not really 6,000 anymore.
It's not really.
Let-
I think it would be nice.
Right. Now, if you'd put that into an equation,
Yeah.
you have 0.18x minus 6,000. And you want to know when does this equal 0? Effectively, right? That's Cody's problem. It's not part of the lecture. All right. So tomorrow starts the midterm. You do not have to come. I will be in this room from 7 a.m. till 11:30. After that point, I'll be heading upstairs to JM 223, which is on the other side of the building, at that side of the building. It's on the outside, you follow it around, go through the hallway. I will be there from 11:30 till at least 3. If anyone's there at 3 or emails me and tells me they're coming after 3, I'll stay till 4:55. If you have questions and stuff, you can come and ask questions. The afternoon room has a computer, so you don't need to bring your laptop if you want, but you will need to remember your COS email and login information, so you can log in and use the computer. If you want to come ask me questions in the morning and have your like homework in front of you, you'll need to bring a laptop. But I will be here to help you guys go over any questions you might have before you got the midterm going. You have till Sunday. I strongly recommend doing the midterm practice exam at least once, and if you've got time, twice or even 3 times. There are more problems on it, so if you can manage to get that down to 2 hours, you're good. I think there's like 28 or 29 on the practice. There's actually 24 on the final. Not final, on the midterm. I cut out the ones that look like they were gonna take too long to make it a little bit faster. Do you guys have any questions? All right, you're free to go. Get the fuck out. Any questions, Lupe?
Yes, I have a question. So for the midterm, we don't actually have to go to campus to take it, right? Like we can take it at home?
Correct. It is going to show up in your My Math Lab tonight at 1 a.m. It's going to appear. It'll show up on
Okay.
the list right after the practice exam.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Uh-huh.